projects repository. We have briefed that here and given some training. So if you're in an organization that's doing research and development in NOAA, you may already be participating in submitting your project data to that repository. And if you haven't yet, please visit it, and you can see what's already in there. I think there's over 60 projects in there and growing each and every day. So that we're very excited about, and I think we're going to see continued growth in the near future. We continue to support a variety of projects that are more strategic in nature. We're looking at growing our repository suite to support the NCEP's numerical weather prediction modeling efforts. That's a kind of core strategic need for the agency. So look into the future for more news on that. And I think that's all I'll say for the moment. We've got a full agenda, so I'm going to hand it back over to John.
All right. So at this point in the meeting, we go ahead and sort of recap what's been going on in the VLab during the previous month. And normally Ken Sparrow would do that. So he's on vacation now, probably enjoying his time away from the office in the VLab. But so I'm going to do his responsibilities here today, and probably not as well as he could, but let me see, where's my, so basically we sort of break this down into a couple areas of ongoing activity. One is adding, there we go. So we break it down into sort of what we've been adding in terms of new projects. And so this first slide addresses a rather lengthy list, really, when you think about it, of new projects that have been added to development services side of the VLab. So the first one is the, I think it's the North Central River Forecast Center. They have a runoff risk tool that they're developing, and I guess it's a way of letting farmers and others know when there's a risk of additional precipitation and whatnot that would cause runoff, which would then indicate that they probably shouldn't lay down fertilizer, for example, to protect the Gulf of Mexico and
Great Lakes.
Harmful algal blooms, right? Yeah, that's where the tool will be run, but the focus is on keeping the, I guess, phosphorus and all that stuff out of the water. We also have MATS, the Model Assessment Tool Suite, being developed by GSD now in the VLab Development Services. We have the SESB Common Ingest, a team developing an ingest system there for, I guess, the NCEI. NOMADS is now got a presence in the VLab, which is the National Model Archive and Distribution System. Get all that good model data from there. The GSD also has a non-hydrostatic isohedral model project in the VLab. There's a ROMS tools development efforts now, which is just looking at regional ocean modeling systems. And I guess that's from our friends over in OS, perhaps. Yeah. And then a couple AWIPS projects designed to facilitate, well, actually, both of them are AWIPS. Local applications, FOSS applications are available to the VLab, as well as a data delivery system. So if you want to download some AWIPS provider data, it's now available from the VLab. So we also had new communities this past month. And you'll notice the names look very familiar. So people have leveraged both the development services side as well as the communities or collaboration services side. So you see that we have the NCRFC runoff risk, MATS again, NCEI software development, and again, NOMADS. And then just a quick overview of what's been going on in terms of additional development. As Steve mentioned, we have the projects repository portlet now have been continuing to be sort of rolled out across NOAA. A couple of additional line offices are now using it, and people are continuing to add their projects. So we're learning a lot, and of course there'll be future versions of it to be released. We also have a new capability that's been pioneered, where if you have a previous issue tracking capability and you want to migrate it into the VLab, into our Redmine system, there's now the ability, I guess Mike Giebler has developed this, that allows people to essentially take a Excel formatted version of that issues and then bring them right into to Redmine. So making the transition from an old system into the new one much easier. And then Mike Giebler's also been working on a new bit of functionality, and this is one of the promises that the VLab was initially predicated on, and that is the vision was to be able to share around the National Weather Service the vast amount of expertise that we have within our ranks. And so the idea here is leveraging some life-ray social features to make it easier to first, reveal what it is that you consider yourself to be skilled at, and then allowing other people within the VLab to discover that when they need help in a certain area or want to leverage your expertise. And so this new tool, which is being developed and has been deployed to our development system for additional testing, is sort of waiting in the wings, and you'll hear more about that probably next month, perhaps. So we're very close to rolling something like this out for general usage. Okay, so that is the update. And next on our agenda is a series of demonstrations of VLab functionality. The first one is by Laura Cottret, and she'll be talking to us about an oft encountered situation where you want to add a new member to your project on the development services side. So Laura, you can use it.
Thank you, John. I appreciate the intro. Sometimes we get questions from the VLab users. The project managers want to add users to their projects, and they may not know how. So I just want to show how a person can do that. Yeah, use my tablet as a mouse pad.
It will be down on your screen. You may want to slide to the left or the right, or down.
Move it forward.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
There it is.
There,
Okay.
there we go.
There we have it. Okay, you're back on.
Okay. So the project manager will go to the project that he owns. When the project request is submitted, the user says who else should be project managers. So those people's names will be added as managers. The project manager should go to the project, go to the settings. There you will see choices. One of the choices is members. You will go to that choice. You would see who's listed as a manager, and the people whose names are listed as managers have the ability to add users to their project. One thing that may be confusing is that a user must first sign on to the Redmine site, the VLab Development Services site, in order to be listed here in the search. Once the person has signed on to Redmine, that person's name will show up on the search. You would type the person's name. For example, I would say Michael. You would add that person to your project. Before you can add the person, you would give the person different roles. You make a choice as to what the person's role should be, and then you add the person there. In order to know what permissions that person has, you can go to the wiki, shows you what that person is able to do. If you go to the virtual lab, project, if you go to the wiki page for the virtual lab project, you will see the guidance for the project managers. It gives you instructions for adding your members to the projects here. In order to see which roles that person can have, you will scroll down to see this list. Here you will see what ability the person has. If you have any questions, now is a good time to ask. Otherwise, I will let Mike G discuss the assistance for the project managers for the JARET, for assigning roles in JARET.
Just getting started with Git and JARET.
Okay, thank you. I will show a wiki page for project managers who use the JARET code review. All right, Mike G, you can take it away.
So let me unmute Mike real quick.
I wanted to mention also the importance of the project manager for adding the members. Sometimes users send an email to the VLST administrators asking us to give permissions to be added to a project. We are hesitant to do that because we may give too few or too many privileges to the members for the projects, and we believe that the project managers should have the ability to assign the roles and permissions, and that's one reason why we hesitate to take on that task ourselves.
I assume you can change the roles of members?
Right, the project managers should be able to do that. We have ability to do that as administrators, but before we do that, we would ask. Someone sends us an email saying, can you add me to this project and give me developer role or test role? We would ask the manager first.
We seem to be having a bit of technical difficulties with Mike Giebler. So let's see, let me give you just another second or two. Yep, he's not. Can you hear us, Mike? Mike, can you talk to us?
He may be trying to.
Well, I tell you what, I'm sure he is trying to.
No, his hand is up. He just raised his hand.
Okay. Well, I still can't unmute him. I could make him presenter, but I'm not sure that would.
Yeah, let's try.
Help. Maybe he's under. Oh, you know what? Is he here? Okay. Never mind. He should be okay. So I'm going to take presenter role back. I'm sorry. All right. So John, there's been a slight change in scheduling, so we're going to go ahead and.
Can we tell him about the link to the help for the? I believe he was going to talk about that link.
The
wiki, right? The Jared project, adding roles and the responsibilities in the Jared project. So in the in the meantime, they can use that, or they can send an email to us if they have any questions, and we can get him to present.
Hopefully we'll be able
or
to
before
get
the end of the day, right?
Yeah. But for now, we're going to let John do his let's see, community spotlight. And Joe. I'm sorry. Joe.
You're John.
Everybody's name should be John.
All right.
Oh, wait, look, Michael's trying to text.
Right. He's saying something. Let's see what he's got. Are you broadcasting? Go to screen. I'm getting splash page. Yeah. For a while. Mike, are we talking?
Yes. And everybody else can see? Can everybody else see? You should ask the audience.
Okay.
Has anybody in the audience spoken up yet?
I don't know. They're all muted, so they're not going to be able to.
We should ask.
Okay, Mike is back on. Okay. Oh, sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to do that.
Can you hear me this time?
Yes, Mike, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that.
I'm going to make you presenter.
Okay.
All right. There you go. All right. So let's see. We don't see your screen yet. Okay, there we go.
Okay. See 4 bullet items there? Okay. So this is what I was going to go over today. I was first going to just give a quick demo of assigning user roles in Jarrett. And you'll see that that's really easy to do. And then for number 2 and number 3, I'm going to show you kind of what we do to configure the roles. And I think that will kind of help kind of tie things together to see how that all works, if you can actually see what the configuration is behind the roles. And then the last thing I'm going to do is do a quick demo of how to do a branch in Jarrett, branch your repository. And so let me go ahead and do that. And the first thing I was going to show you is we do have a wiki page out here, Help for Jarrett Project Owners. And this is some good information, especially for assigning roles to different people. And we have a quick overview here of what those roles are. The description kind of tells you what those can do. One thing I want to point out, we have in red here for reviewers is the role that we have for pushing code to Jarrett for review. So in order to do that, you need to have a reviewer role. Also down here in the red, it says in order for a user to be able to clone a repository, they need to have a read access, and the reviewers have that read access as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and start just a quick demo on assigning roles. To do that, you go to in Jarrett, the Projects tab and List, and you identify, and then you need to locate your project, and we're doing this test project here. Identify that, click on that, and then up in the upper tabs here, let's see here, sorry about that. All right, actually, I'm kind of was going to step 2 a little bit too soon there. So you go to People, List Groups, and you'll notice that we prefix all these roles with the name of the project, and we're doing this test project. So we scroll down to the section here where we have all these test roles here. And as I'd mentioned, we have the test reviewers role here. If you click on that, you'll get a list of people who are already a member in that role. And if you need to add somebody else to this, all you have to do is start typing in this text box here, and it has an autocomplete feature, and it'll find it based on what you initially type in. As soon as you see the person that you want to add to that role, you can click on them, and then click Add, and they get added to that role. So you can see that she's been added. I added Laura right here. So it's as easy as that to add people to a role. But what I really wanted to kind of show you was, well, which role do you pick? And that's kind of based on these setups that we do here. And this is our configuration for, this is basically our standard configuration that I set up for this test project. And let me just kind of give you a brief explanation here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. For Jarrett, we have these references. You see we have a reference here, refs for refs heads, and another one here, refs heads, and the last one is refs tags. So we have 3 different references that we're using to set up our roles. And this first one here, what this one is doing is setting up roles for what you can do within Jarrett itself. So probably the most important one that I want to point out is this push. So if you want to be able to push code changes to Jarrett for code review, you need to be a member of one of these roles, integrators, reviewers, or submitters. So for developers, we usually assign this reviewers role for those so that they can push code to Jarrett so that it can go through the code review process. And then once the code review is complete, if you want to merge that change into the Git repository, you need to have the integrators role for that. These other 2 references are what you can do actually in the Git for the Git repository. So we have things where we can do the code review with the +2, -2, +1, -1, and that's what those are. We have reviewers that can do that same role that I've been talking about, reviewers. And here's the read that I talked to you about before. Read allows users to clone the Git repository. And you'll notice on a lot of these other ones, for submit, verifiers, these are really limited kind of high power users and integrators that can actually do some of these things in the Git repository and actually bypass the Jarrett code review process. You'll notice that for the test reviewers, they are pretty limited in we just give the read and we did the push up here before that. So for submitting code, they're basically required to do that through the code review process for this repository, whereas others can do it without. And the last one is just this tags section. And what this is for the step 4 that I'm going to show you later is being able to branch a repository. So that's basically what this create reference is this allows somebody to make a branch of the repository. Another thing I wanted to quickly show you was you can see that we have this with an asterisk at the end. So this means for all branches. I have an example here of another project where we have a lot of different, more of a fine-grained control, and that's with our AWIPS2 core project. And if you look at that, we see up here, we do have this one here for all branches because it has the asterisk. But you can see here, we're getting some more fine-grained control here. We're looking at branches that start with DEV underscore. And then here's some branches that start with FIELD underscore. So you can really kind of make some fine-grained control here, and you can see that we have different roles associated with these. So here we have this branch that starts with NCEP, and you can see that we're allowing NCEP integrators and submitters to do this push process here. So that just kind of shows you a little bit how we can really do some fine-grained control on different branches in your project. And the last thing was just a quick demo of how do you branch your code. So I'm going to go back to our test project to do that. So you need to just navigate to that. And then in the upper tabbed linked area here, you just go to branches. And what you're presented with is a list of branches that currently exist in your code repository. So what you need to do to branch is, the first thing you need to do is kind of decide which branch you're going to branch from. So I'm just going to select this here. Okay, so I think it must be case sensitive because I initially typed capital H and then lowercase EAD, and it corrected me to all caps for that. So you can see this test 3 branch is now been created, and it was based on the test 2 branch that I had initially put a check the checkbox next to it. So that's a pretty simple process too, and those that can do that need to have that role that I showed you earlier under that tags reference. We would have the create reference role on that. And that is it for what I wanted to show today. I don't know if anyone had any questions.
Mike, I had a quick question. Just in that last step that you did, how do you know that the test 3 was branched off of test 2? I mean, we did it, of course, and we obviously can remember that for a short while, but at some point we may come back and go, I wonder what that 3 was branched off of. Is there a way to know?
Honestly, I don't know how you can verify that. I'm sure there's a way. That's something that I could research and see what I can find out.
Let me see if there's anybody who has their hand raised, and we'll see if we can unmute them.
In the red mic for the test project.
Okay, so does anyone have a question for Laura or Mike? If so, please raise your hand. Okay. I will say that we have a number of new users that have joined us for the first time today. So some of this they may have recently had to hurdle through, but at some point they'll be the seasoned veterans and helping folks in their respective projects come up to speed. So we really appreciate them being here to take in some of this very helpful information that Laura and Mike provided us.
Can we check something?
Yes, what was
it? The red mine project, or the test project.
The test project?
Yeah, if we go to red mine, if we have a window open for red mine.
I would have to get the screen back, I guess. Where is
okay.
I'm looking at Mike's. Like,
oh, yeah.
But hold on just 1 second. Let's do that right away anyway. Since there doesn't appear to be any questions.
I thought the branching would show up in the red mine repository. We can go back to one of those red mine.
Yeah, this one here?
Yeah, and then go to the test project.
Test project? Yeah. Over here?
see if it shows repository. You see repository there. All right, and then maybe repository 2. I just want to see if it'll show up. Next to settings.
Settings.
Yeah, up,
oh, up here.
Yeah, up first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This one here.
Yeah, I may have been
that
wrong
was
the first time. Yeah. Let's see. I just want to see if it shows
a branch.
what it shows. His test 3 branch he made. Or unless we refresh, do we need to refresh?
Probably not.
Oh, it won't show.
I don't think I know.
Oh, okay. Because it's the same test we were trying to use the test project to show.
Yeah, these are the change sets that I think have been.
Okay. He said he'll research and get
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We'll
all right.
get the word out to the members of the list. All righty. So I want to again thank Laura and Mike for that useful bit of information. And as always, you know, of course, development service is very powerful. People are really enjoying using it, but it can be, you know, challenging to get up to speed. That initial couple commands that you have to enter. So if you are having problems, by all means, give us a call at VLab.admin@noaa.gov. Yes, and we'll be happy to help you. Okay, so we have Joe Zajic up with us. He's going to be talking about the WeatherStar community and give us an idea of you know, what he's been doing with that project. And this particular agenda item, the community spotlight for the new people, is an opportunity to learn about the kind of projects that are going on in the VLab, see how people are using the VLab to facilitate their efforts, and you know, see new and innovative ways that things are getting done. So I think Joe will give us a good example of a little bit of all of that today. And I need to bring up his presentation, which I think is here. There we go. Okay, Joe, would you like to take it away?
Oh, sure.
You need
How do we put this in presentation?
See, I think if you maximize in the upper right-hand corner, that will probably be the best we can do.
That'll work.
What if we do a control plus? I don't know if we want that or not.
I can try that too. Good enough. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Joe Zajic. I work with Mike Johnson in the new Office of Observations. Mike is the satellite guy for Weather Service, and part of my work for him is when different satellites owned by other countries come into play that have value for the Weather Service. Sometimes there's a little bit of glue required to get that data into play so that operational organizations can use it. Probably 2 years ago, Mike asked me to get data from an Indian satellite called OceanSat-2, had a scatterometer on it called OSCAT that was going to be useful for some of the coastal WFOs, and he wanted to see that data in a stopgap, in a near-term effort manner, brought into AWIPS-1 for display. And I needed a place to put some software that I was using to get data out of NESDIS star and into the Weather Service, and this VLab Resources was here as a place to keep some software and documentation, and so I asked for a project, and they asked me what name I should use, and I thought about it and said, well, I don't know, WeatherStar. So WeatherStar is a community on the light ray side and a Git repo and bug repository on the development services side that I use to maintain software and documentation for projects that deal with getting data from STAR and into Weather Service. As a side note, no sooner had we gotten the software and processing going for the OSCAT project, and OSCAT had a fatal interrupt and broke down, and so I'm not sure. Maybe we don't want to use this software for.
It's a jinx.
Yeah, it's a jinx. All right. So anybody interested in STAR and satellite data and getting data into AWIPS2, I'd be happy to talk to you at any point. Primarily, our work is on GOES-R right now, and the Himawari 8 is a new satellite that the Japanese launched, and it has the same instrument as is going to fly on GOES-R. They call it the AHI, the Advanced Himawari Imager. Ours is the Advanced Baseline Imager, but it's the same. It's basically the same instrument, and so there's a lot of excitement out in the Pacific region and Alaska region about getting data from this. And so the software that I'm working with NCO, the IDP system to get data processing and distribution for that imagery, that software is being managed out of WeatherStar. The specific thing I want to talk to you about today is the use of web services with LifeRay as a way of getting information into the VLab and presenting various forms of data. My motivation for this, again, was to be able to get in a non-interactive way, either you be able to do machine-to-machine content insertion into the VLab. Things ranging from status and data. I'll give you an example of status and data from a processing system, software documentation, and one of my pet peeves is right now, if you want to get data that you have in, say, a Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or Microsoft project file, and you want to get that into, say, a wiki or a set of some other semi-structured data in LifeRay. Right now, you have to hand enter it, and so the web services, coupled with your favorite scripting language, mine is Python, provide a fairly powerful way of getting data into the VLab in semi-automated and automated fashion. The enabling technologies that I use for this, Python, and they've got a module called PyCurl, which allows you to do basically web communications. And Ken Sparrow, I collaborated with him on this, and he provided me with this JSON Web Services API. It's hosted out of the VLab. If you click on that link, be a little patient. It's kind of slow, but that lays out the different web service calls that are available with LifeRay. My experience so far, I've put together 2 applications that I'll tell you about. One's for this AhiProc Himawari software, a processing latency status display, and some documentation auto generation software. To do this, I used one web service method. It was the update content method, and I found it to be the Ginsu knife of web service methods. Challenges that I've run into, the documentation for the web services are a little disappointing. It takes a little bit of hunting and pecking and asking Ken to figure out how to what's going on there. And authentication is one of the things we need to put on the list of if this is going to take off. We've got need a better way of managing authentication between especially for the autonomous type applications. Something more like what Jarrett has, a key-based authentication or something like that. All right, the first example, one of the nature of the Himawari imager, it's producing a full disk image once every 10 minutes on a 24/7 basis for 16 spectral bands. And as we were developing this, one of the questions was being able to track what's the latency. The data's coming from Japan through a whole bunch of communications through Nesbitt, getting to our system. We had the processing instead of get turned back around, and so we wanted to get some statistics on what the various latency pieces was on all that. So using these web service techniques, I was able to whip together a page that shows 24 hours worth of latency statistics. It updates every 10 minutes and provides various different parameters that were interesting to us while we were developing. And I think in the future will be interesting to people in the field because it gives an idea of where's my data, if there's data not there, maybe save a telephone call, those kind of things. To write it, I use Python, and again, there's PyCurl, and the graphics are SVG graphics, so you can author the graphics in a basically simple Python scripting, and the web content portlet in VLab knows how to interpret the SVG and produce nice color vector graphics. If you are interested in looking at the updating page, it's the link right under the example. It's weatherstar/status. And if you care to look at the Python code that was used as an example, it was used to produce this display. It's two files. One's called ahistats.py and one's called svgplot.py. It's in the Git repo within the WeatherStar project. I think you probably have to be added to that project to be able to see it. Anybody that's interested, just let the VLab team know or myself, and we'd be happy to add you. The other example is I have to deliver this code to the NCO IDP onboarding team, and so I've got to provide some documentation, and so I chose to do that by using the PyDoc technique. It's built in, since all the code's in Python, it seems to be a natural. And so this page basically goes through the modules that go into that AHI proc software. It extracts all the string literals, uses the PyDoc module to format out I think many people who write software have seen this kind of thing into class and method documentation, and then I was able to provide some added value hyperlinking the modules to the Redmine code repository pages. So if you click on the class link in this page, it'll pop up the associated code in the display in the Redmine Git repo, and also I was able to link method references to used in other parts of the documentation to their entries in the repository. It was about 4 hours work, and again, Python using PyCurl to do the web services, the PyDoc module, and it was a pretty pleasing display. And so far, the onboarding guys like it. And one of what I was trying to get to here is now to update the documentation on the VLab, you basically run one Unix command and you're updated, and there's no having to collate, pull documents, manually upload, any of that stuff. It's kind of a one-shot deal. So that was another use of these web services. Again, anybody that's interested in taking a look at the documentation, the link's up at the top, and anybody wants to look at the code, it's the reference down at the bottom. So that's what I have to share with you today. I'll take any questions either now or again, my name's Joe Zajic. I'm on the VLab, and I'd be happy to talk with you.
I have a quick question. So this last example that you have, on the right we see some nicely formatted text. What portion of that is the web services actually getting, and where is it coming from?
Okay, so the code is resident on a machine at IDP.
So all that text.
Okay. Well, all that code, all the text is buried in the Python. It's inline documentation.
Okay, gotcha.
String literals in the
so within the
Java doc, PyDoc. It's all the same concept. Okay. Okay. There's a script that scrapes all of that out of the code itself, formats it up, in PyDoc style. Okay, and then the script searches for hyperlinks, creates the hyperlinks, formats out the page, and then uses web services to poke that content into a designated page, web content display portlet, data item. I don't know, whatever you call it, on the VLab.
Okay, great. That that makes it real clear for me. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
All right, I was going to see if anyone had any questions.
Quick question. So,
Sure.
you know, if you had Java code, you could do something similar. In other words, like a Java doc.
Sure. Yeah.
Is this something that's already built into a web service, or you'd have to?
Well, the web service, I used it's just a straight JSON web service. The web service doesn't know from the documentation or PyDoc or JavaDoc or anything. It's just a way of putting web content, whether it be SVG or HTML or whatever, into a container on the VLab.
Right. So you had to run PyDoc on the Python code to generate an input, which was then
right
into the.
I actually used the PyDoc module within Python itself. So you can write a Python script that does all of that.
All right. So the web service did a scripting call to Python to run which you set up to generate the documentation.
The web service is how it communicated with the VLab to get the content into the VLab page.
All right, so any questions for Joe? This is very powerful stuff he's presented to us. All right, no questions? I did want to sort of just give you some sense of, you know, the real value of this and of what Joe has presented here, and that is that, you know, one of the things that makes our communities valuable to our users, our members, is, you know, content. And, you know, we don't all have time to be creating content 24/7, but if that content is being created automatically somewhere and we can use web services to display it inside our community, that's a very powerful lure to bring people into the community and to service their needs. So you may want to think about your community and how, if there's data sources that are available electronically somehow, maybe a web service is the way to make that part of your community. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Joe. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to talk with you.
Okay, so we've seen a little bit about what another community is doing out there, and this whole meeting is brought to you via the VirtualLab support team. And one of the functions that we serve, in addition to building out the VLab, is to service needs of our users. And so we're available during normal business hours here on the East Coast to help you with your issues. And as we do that job on a daily basis, we see what people are having difficulty with, we see where maybe perhaps like the training issues might be. And so in response to that, in heightened knowledge, we developed a segment called Fast Facts. And this is just an opportunity to quickly give you some information that we have seen others need over the past month, let's say. And so we'll now have one of our Fast Facts. So let me pull it up. Okay, so basically we got, and we get this question from time to time, is we have a user and they've heard about some project in the VLab, they go looking for it, and they can't find it. And so they send us an email saying, I'm trying to find this project, but I can't seem to locate it. And the reality of that is, particularly on the project side, is that all projects are only visible to members. So if you're not a member of the project already, then you'll never be able to really locate it or find out much information about it. So what the fast fact today is that if you go to the VirtualLab collaboration services side, the library side, and go to the development services page, you will find a complete list. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So if you go to the development services page, there's a complete list of VirtualLab development projects. And so you can obviously scroll down here and read about them, find the one perhaps you're looking for, and then on the right-hand side, you'll notice that basically the project manager for that project, their name is listed and a link to their email address is provided. And so then you could email that individual saying, hey, you know, I'm very interested in helping develop the aviation forecast verification tool, and you know, would you be interested in my assistance, and can you add me to the project? And you know, then they can obviously do that. You would be able to then log into the Redmine and see all the project particulars, and perhaps get involved in checking out the code if there's a repository and so forth. So you can also, from this page, go to the project, but just bear in mind that if you're not you know, a member of it, then you know, you're not going to be able to actually use that link. Also remember that, you know, you don't necessarily have to scroll down. We have a very powerful search engine with the VLab, and so you could simply enter something, a particular topic, from any page really on the website, and it'll take you to a perhaps this page, and then you can find a particular entry that you're looking for.
Is the search case sensitive?
It is insensitive actually, so it'll find both uppercase and lowercase.
Okay, can you do a quick test and type ROMS in lowercase?
Okay, sure.
How do you spell?
ROMS.
Sure. Okay, so for those who are new, Liferay returns what's called a faceted search result, and which all that means is that your search results are broken out by a number of different types. So you have communities that have this particular 4 letters or whatever in it. Then you've got tags. These are ways of classifying things, and so someone has used that tag as a tag. Folders, any users that might have that in their profile or something of that nature.
Can you list just by the project as opposed to everything?
Just by projects?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I just started a project. I'm trying to find an easy way to let the members find it.
So the easiest way, development service. So here is the page that I would have been wanting to find. So this is the development services projects page, and it has that one item in there that deals with that particular project. If this had been an actual community, it would show up, and I believe, yeah, it'd be under here, so under any community. So it would, you know, that would be, you could direct them to search for a particular string, check in the any community section, and then it would take them to that particular community. All right. So, and then while we're here, probably worth reviewing particularly for the new people, that if you're interested in finding a community, you go to the communities page, and then there's a tab called All Available Communities, which you can then click on, and it will give you the list of all the VLab communities, which you can then review or search through, and then using the links on the right-hand column, you can join them if they're open, or request membership if they're restricted. So now, based on this fast facts, you know how to locate a project and a community within the VLab.
So what's the distinction between the community and the project? The project is just access to the source code, community is more for discussion, is that it?
I think that's a pretty good synopsis, yeah. The community opens up all the tools that Liferay offers, so everything from wikis to document libraries and you know, those sorts of web content to you know, that type of information. Whereas the project side, there is some of that capability, but it's mainly focused on managing software files. Okay, so that's our first fast fact. And then earlier in the meeting, we raised the question, so name 5 ways to get help using VLab's collaboration services. And here is now the answer to that. And first we have the highly useful VLab User's Guide, which we encourage people to reference. But we also have the Troubleshooting Forum, So let's take a look at the troubleshooting forum because it's relatively new. And just so you, okay, well, I'm not going to be helping. Let's see, need help. By the way, if you want to find a good consolidated way to locate these various ways to get help, if you go to the Help drop-down menu and the Need Help item, and so now I'm searching for the troubleshooting forum, and so this will take me to the actual forum. And so it's one of our VLab forums that have a series of posts under different categorical areas. So if you're interested in collaboration services, you can go down and there's a number of different subtopics. Hopefully you would find the area that you're interested in. You can check through the thread, review the post to see if there's a response to your particular problem, and leverage all this wealth of information. Plus, you can become a contributor to this particular help vehicle by simply posting a question, perhaps. Answers come in. Maybe you answer somebody else's question. So we had you can also request a consultation. So if you're trying to build out a community or get going on a project, you can get in touch with us through this request form and simply let us know what your issue is. Let us know what your issue is, and then we will receive that via email. Consultation request now. And so you give us the information you need. We get back in touch with you. We set up a one-on-one meeting, perhaps. Using GoToMeeting, we can show you some things, get a better idea of what you're trying to do. And this can be very effective in quickly getting you the information you need to get where you want to be. All righty, let's see. The other one is, let's see, I believe, so let's see, we had request a demo, right? So we can go over here to the request a demo. And it's another request form. Because it gives the information on what kind of demo you would like to have, and then we set the meeting up and bring the talents of the Virtual Lab support team to bear on your particular group of users, help them get up to speed on how to use it and make, improve their operations. Okay, and then the final way, of course, is simply to send us an email at vlab.admin@noaa.gov. So now, hopefully, every one of you got all 5 of the potential options. If not, now you know a multitude of ways to get help when you need it. All righty. So that concludes our Fast Facts segment. And now, with the 30 minutes remaining, we're going to turn to the roundtable, which is your chance to talk with us about various topics. And as the name implies, we go around the table, giving everyone a chance to gives everyone a chance to share with us their questions, their comments. And today we're going to give, let's see, some focus on a couple topics during the roundtable. So the first topic we want to hear from folks on is how frequently would you like to have these meetings? So these meetings are basically being orchestrated for your benefit, and we thought we would take time to ask you how frequently you think we should have them. So we have a poll going now, and so as an attendee, if you will give us some feedback on how often you think you would like to see these meetings. Obviously currently we have a monthly, so if you're interested in the status quo, select monthly. But if you think we need to have them more frequently, perhaps you could select weekly. And if you'd like to have them, you think we need to have a little more space between them, then there are other options available for you as well. So give us your thoughts on that, and we'll use that input to going forward, because these meetings are still ongoing in terms of how we use them. We plan some changes going forward, so look forward to that. but this will be input into that evolutionary process. Okay, so I'll give everybody another couple of minutes on the poll question, and while that's going, let me open up a few of the folks to give us some comments on how they might be using the VLab to really, the most valuable aspect, let's say, of the VLab. So let's see. There we are. Okay. So I had a number of individuals who said that they had something they wanted to share with us. Most of them weren't going to be able to stay for the full meeting, but I see Mike Chirma has stayed with us. And so, Mike, I'm going to unmute you, and we'll see if you can share with us the most valuable aspect of your community that you have going. And would you like me to give you presenter roles as well?
Sure, briefly.
Okay. So what Mike is going to do is he's going to show us the aspect of his community that he thinks is most valuable to him and his members. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. I'm still. I don't see the ability to show my screen.
Let me get rid of the poll. That may help.
Yeah.
All right. So poll is closed. Can you now take presenter roles?
I can.
Okay.
I believe.
And we can see your screen.
Okay. This is not going to be anything groundbreaking, especially given like what we saw from Joe's Egypt, which is really neat. But I just have been using my community, my current reporting community, to help organization, partly for the participants in my project, but as much as anything for my own benefit, just to keep things organized. We have a lot of forecast offices and beaches within CWAs that are working with us, and I have sometimes a tough time remembering who's doing what when, and how many beaches we have and where. So basically, I've used. See if I click here. This is just a very simple web content graph that I've set up, or chart, excuse me, actually not graph or chart, table. Sorry, table. That I'm just using to keep track of what beaches we have where. And it's not interactive. There's nothing special about this. This is just very simple web content that's been set up. And let's see if I can just show the show what it looks like. It looks like in the screen, and then from the WYSIWYG. Then of course we have the source, if source is more your preference. So again, nothing fancy, but just something to help me just keep track of what's going on. For our wiki, we have one or maybe two entries. We had started being able, thanks in part more than a little bit to the forecast office in San Diego, and also to John Chattel's efforts to allow reports to be retrieved through the LDM into AWIPS with the wget command. And I had given emails back and forth to a handful of WFOs, and I thought, well, let's just put it in a wiki and be done with it. And so here's an example that I can give very easily to the participants in the project to say, okay, here's how to do this, here's what's up. And so that's better for me than trying to find an old email in my ever-burgeoning inbox or archives, or for that matter, Google Drive. I use Google as much as anybody else, but I tend to lose files and try to rely on what's I've seen most recently, and that's not always a good indicator if I want to dig up something old, and what I remember a file being named isn't always what it's named, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just a nice way to have something handy. And same thing with document libraries, even more so. I just have a handful of docs in here where if I need them, I know where to find them. Again, I use Google Docs and Google Drive as much as anybody, and I store these are PDFs and PowerPoints as much as anybody. I store them in Google Drive, but I just lose track of them after a time, and so this is just a good way to keep things in some level of organization. Blogs, just for me to be able to communicate with some of the users in the project, and one thing I need to do as the manager of the project is to try to get people to subscribe to this, so when I blast something out to let people know what's going on, and they receive it in their emails with a subscription to this blog. That's all I've been using it for. I think there's room to use blogs as sort of like a forum for SMEs and other experts to give opinions and receive feedback and that sort of thing. I haven't done that yet, but it's there to do that. And so that's basically it. Again, nothing groundbreaking at all here, just very simple. And here we have our standard asset publisher on the right here with what's new for the latest updates. And it just with some very simple, very no-nonsense work within this community, I've improved my ability to both keep track of what's going on in my own project and also to communicate to project members about what's going on. So that's all I have.
Okay, great, Mike. Thank you very much. I'm going to take the screen back, and I'm going to quickly be the second, and I believe our final round forum member who's going to quickly demonstrate what they find to be most valuable about their community. And so I figured as a leader of the group, I had to at least come up with something. So let's see, virtual lab. Oh, you know what, I may have gotten rid of it for me. Okay, so let's just go here, and I'll go to my community. And we're going to go to the focal point, VLab Focal Point community. So everybody can be a member of this. If you consider yourself a VLab Focal Point, then try to become a member of this community. But the thing I find the most useful is on the document library page, and it's over on the right-hand side. This is the listing of our recordings. So every month I create a new bit of it and a new entry here. I upload the presentation to YouTube, and then I link to it from this particular portlet. So if you ever want to, you're unable to make a meeting and you want to go ahead and review it, sort of post real time, then you can come to the community, the VLab Focal Point community, come to the document library, click on the link, and it'll take you to the YouTube where you can then watch the video. And it's sort of almost like being there. All right, so that was my contribution. Now we'll continue to go around the round table and get people to tell us what they've been up to, or just let us know what's going on. So Bonnie Strong. Bonnie, are you there? Good. We'll come back to you in a minute, Bonnie. And Brian Ritzky, do you have anything for the group?
Yeah, John, I asked a question. Some folks were wondering, what's the status of VLab using it from AWIPS?
Okay, using VLab from AWIPS. I honestly do not know the status of that in detail.
Yeah, so Brian, this is Steve. So we're working a change request through the AWIPS security personnel to provide that access. So it's in process.
Okay.
We have to. This has a number of checkoffs on it, including at the IDP web farm, because that's where VLab is being hosted right now. But so it's working its way through the security chain.
Okay. Great.
Anything else?
No, I think you know my other things, but they're not for this call.
All right. Let's see. How about David Gade, I guess? Are you there, David?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Did you have something to share with us this afternoon?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, thank you for attending, and let us know if there's anything else these meetings can do for you to make them productive.
Okay, will do.
All right. I don't think Dennis, Dustin, or Jim, but how about Jordan Girth? Are you there? Jordan? All righty. How about Kate Howard? Are you there?
Yep, nothing to show today. Thank you for the presentations as always.
All right. Thanks for coming to the meetings. Appreciate it. And how about Katie Crandall? Do you have something for the group? Katie, are you there? All righty. Well, I believe that completes our. Teresa? I can't seem to. She's not. Oh, there we go. Teresa, are you there? Teresa? Okay. All right. Well, now I think we've gone around the table, and with that, I will mention that next month's meeting is scheduled for July 22nd, and so hopefully everyone will be able to join. And we really appreciate your input on meeting frequency. And as always, we appreciate you showing up to these meetings, and hopefully you're getting something out of them. So let us know if there's anything else we can do for you. And with that, I'll wish you a good afternoon, and we'll talk to you next month.